It's on YouTube.
Mhm.
Sally already sent it.
Oh, she sent it. Great. Thank you, Sally. So let's go.
Sally first.
Isn't MetaMask list linked to an email address or not? No. Okay. I somehow thought it was.
You can be surprised how many emails you get.
From scam.
Being
Hacked or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I thought it was. Link to a browser.
Why is not show
Just a plugin, right?
video?
The only two things you need is the password to log in on it, and then your seed price. You can create streams.
You have to turn on video.
Yeah, it's maybe MetaMask.
Yeah. Back when AdDrops was big, I had 20 of them.
Okay.
So that's dangerous as well.
It's going? Okay. And that's going to.
Find the right one you want to use.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Where are they?
So thanks for coming to the Ecom meetup. It's a small intimate group. Today, Beau and I will go through some blockchain e-commerce. I literally just shared on my Twitter yesterday, Andres Anatopolis, where he did a session about Bitcoin in 2013, and there was like a huge empty audience, like two people like sneaking out the back. Maybe that's today. Actually, this is what we want to hear. We want to hear, there's some people dialing in online. We want to hear, like, are you open-minded to blockchain and crypto for e-commerce? What your thoughts are. We're going to give you some interactive sessions today. But first, we're going to show you a little video. If you're watching online, I think we're going to share a link for the YouTube. But for those here, maybe you can give us your feedback after.
Is trapped with his 50% plus fees he pays to the digital for selling in the empire's market. In a world where darkness reigns and hope seems a distant memory, merchant Lazarus sits, lost in thought under the blood moon. He feels trapped with his 50% plus fees he pays to the digital emperor's regime for selling in the empire's marketplace. He's also not happy with recent events. Just a few short days ago, a fellow merchant, Juliet, was walking in the garden, and her life was shattered by a cold grip of Emperor's guards.
You have violated the TOS body. You got to come with us immediately.
I have no idea what I have done wrong.
Shortly executed for breaking TOS terms, she had no idea of which she had broken. While in that thought, Lazarus sees a light from his tent, decides to venture out to see what it is. He stumbles upon a relic of the past, a pouch glowing with untold mysteries. From where he learns in this pouch and speaking to the wizard, he realized that there must be a group he must assemble to rise up against this empire's regime. A new way of doing commerce, owned and governed by the community, for the community. The meeting was disrupted. Rebels are ambushed and overpowered by relentless guards. Rebels are thrown into the Colosseum facing monstrous Goliath amidst a sea of cheers and jeers. As they are about to be crushed, they see a secret hatch opening magically to escape underground the Colosseum. They meet Nicholas, who guides them on a rickety raft to get them outside of the Colosseum area to float down this underground river. Will you join them? We need your help. Join us on Project Raft Testnet, the first community marketplace on low-pipe protocol. This is the new way of doing e-commerce. www.hamza.biz.
Okay, so that's the video. If you're in the online session, maybe you can give us some comments. So can you tell us if anybody's giving feedback?
Okay.
And Lorelei, thanks for coming. No problem. How did you get? What do you think?
Yeah, it's good. And it's an idea. I think the idea is great. You can sell it to the people. I think it's a great idea.
Okay. What was your favorite part? Like, it's clear. Like what thinks the message?
For me, I think for me the message more is that like as me being online seller, so to me to become the seller on your platform, I think I get that out of the video. Oh.
Yeah. So it's for the community, by the community. So the promise is Web3 is not, you're just a user. You are part of the system.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing to get rid of the Facebook, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, and being your own those kind of thing there. So.
Don, do you have-
I think it's wicked. I like the narrative element because it really personifies what you guys are trying to do. You know, it's like this ancient Roman Empire regime, right? And enforcing all these rules on people that don't make sense. Like the girl said, like she violated the TOS, she doesn't know why, and that's being executed. Like I felt like that so many times selling on Amazon and some of these marketplaces. I think that's like a pain point that people can relate to. But it's also like foretelling because we know what happened to the Roman Empire, right? And its collapse. And so like there's some funny, like poignant storytelling components that you guys mix into the animation that I think you can continue to play off of. Almost would wish to see it like incorporate into the branding somehow, into the messaging, so it can be an ongoing theme for Hamza.net or Lookpipe. Yeah, I think it's as far as the length and everything, it felt good. It didn't feel too long or. The animation style is really cool too. I mean, that's AI generated art, right? And
Yes,
there's like an additional element where you're creating that motion.
I actually don't know what was used for that last iteration, but it was a fixed picture, but then some AI tool was used to
It's great.
make it move a bit.
So much better than static imagery for video.
Laura, do you have any? Thanks for coming. Do you have any? I only caught the end of it. Do you have any questions or feedback? What do you want?
I'd love to watch the whole thing. It would make more sense.
Yeah, I know
That's my fault. That's Traffic's fault.
Okay. So essentially, it's the story is that the emperor makes a sell in his marketplace, and we have no power, no involvement, nothing to say, and we can be executed at any time for violating the terms of service final. So we are trying to make a community-owned and governed ecosystem that sellers, buyers, community can own a piece of it and have a say in the way it's governed. Oh, did I say that right? Do you want to?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that sort of captures it, right? Like when we think of services like Facebook or Amazon, any of the FANG companies, right? They have this widespread centralized control over large swaths of our lives, right? And those people are largely unelected, right? And the only incentives they respond to are stock price, right? And so when you have a system like that, you end up with these, Goliaths that, can't be competed against. And so building out a protocol that allows people to sort of atomize that governance, understand who it is that's running these sorts of things and exercise some power to change it, is like sort of the core mission, right? Bring sort of a level of freedom back to e-commerce in this particular instance, but the wider like engagement in the internet commons, right?
Awesome. What does Hamza mean? Out of curiosity,
Actually,
is there a story behind it?
Hamza, I pronounce it Hamza. It's a river that's in the South America that flows underneath the Amazon River that's wider and bigger than the Amazon River. So it's like an underground river under the Amazon.
Underground river. How does that work?
So it's very, very slow moving water.
Mm-hmm.
So there's somewhat of a contest about it really being considered a river because it's so slowly moving, but it's underground water moving towards the coast. And it's underneath the Amazon River.
So like a number of laid us
Yeah,
down
so we
through
talked, I pull up what was the Raft. So we're in Project Raft. So as you saw in the end of the video, we're on a test net. And essentially, the Hamza River are the two main drainage systems for the Amazon basin. Flow rate of Hamza is basically a lot slower, but it's much wider and deeper than the Amazon River.
That's cool.
It's in Wikipedia, Hamza River. So yeah, it's good. So basically underground Amazon River. So the idea of the story is we have where we just showed you this part of the story, and this is escaping the current regime, and we made it to the underground river of Hamza, and where we're going to next is to this raft, and the raft is where we want to bring people that are early adopters, hopefully in e-commerce space, that want to participate in this testing of the raft. There's already been some 404 errors we're getting reported on Twitter, and the idea here is we're going to move down this map together in the next year to complete the journey of escaping this current system, going down the river, and there's some other things that will get to the blue sea ocean. So we're trying to find our ways to the new world, the new ocean. So I think we put some bullet points for today's topics. Is there just let me know if there's anybody with questions?
Not yet.
Okay. So the idea is why, actually somebody in the WhatsApp group says, why do you need blockchain for e-commerce? Beau, do you want to try to take a stab at that?
Yeah, so again, it comes down to like power and control, right? So one is it allows you to interact trustlessly in a peer-to-peer manner. And so, you can conduct commerce between two people without having to involve, intermediaries, which means that we have less fees. And, there's a couple of different like advantages to being able to do that. But the wider sort of like way that blockchains have evolved is as data availability layers in some instances, where we can allow, so when you think about Amazon as a Web 2 company, they host all their own servers, and they have control over all the data inflows and outflows, and they have access control over who can become a seller and vendor and everything like that. And they can get rid of you if you violate the terms of service, which are opaque and sort of hard to understand. Whereas if you replace sort of the infrastructure that they have built to support the front end of the Amazon website, then you can have multiple front ends that have a lot more predictable rules as to how commerce can happen. And you can create various incentive mechanisms to promote the kind of good behavior that you're looking to have in an e-commerce marketplace, right? So then you have value not just flowing, and pooling to the only game in town, right? When Amazon, like Walmart, would just move into localities and crush small sellers and everything like that, and then bring up prices so that they remain profitable. Instead, a lot of that value gets sloshed around in the ecosystem, right? So you create circular economies where, not all the value is pooling for executives and shareholders. And so you can create much more open, predictable systems that provide people a lot more value and extract a lot less from them for engaging in just, commerce.
Okay, great. I wasn't expecting to show this, but this is a presentation we did at Cross Border Summit. But just for visualization, so load pipe or any protocols are like below the application layer. So they're basically, it doesn't really exist with Amazon or eBay's. Everything exists at the application level. Is that
Well, and you could argue that, so like protocol basically is just their internal servers where they're storing product data, where they're storing user data, and then they serve that to their front end, the Amazon front end, right? But what we're building is sort of an open backend infrastructure that allows all that protocol data, all that user data, user social profiles, as well as product data to just exist sort of in the ether, and then someone can come along and, but functionally what will happen is they'll consume our data API to spin up a front end. We're going to spin up the first front end, which is Hamza. And again, so it allows you not only like, assuming other people build front ends, right? Maybe those front ends are more concerned with, intra-territorial commerce, right? So like one specific to Thailand or one that does commerce from Southeast Asia to South America, right? Depending on where you want to be, you can take all of your profile data, you can take all of your product data and import it to any other marketplace that again exists sort of at the application layer. But your data remains your data. It's tied to your wallet. You control it, and you can take it with you when you decide to leave the marketplace, if you decide to leave the marketplace, or those multiple marketplaces.
You don't want to be shy. Does this make sense, or does it sound useful? I mean, the idea of owning your data, owning your product information, your product photos, your username.
To paint another analogy, just for like clarity's sake, take like the case of Facebook, right? You have a profile on Facebook, you have comments and posts and a history on Facebook, and you chose to leave Facebook, all that data would stay with them. They own it, right? You can't take it to Twitter, you can't take it to some other social media site. It's just owned by Facebook, and if you created a new profile on a different social media app, all that data would be gone, all your friends, all, this, that, or the other thing. There's like Web3 models of this, like Lens, and Lens protocol allows you to create a profile on chain. It has this, they have this data layer underneath, and then they create a data API which allows people to spin up websites based. They can't stop you from creating a profile, and they can't stop you from making posts on Lens. What happens is a developer, go down a little bit more, will come along and create something like Orb or Butterfly, which are front ends that look like Facebook or Twitter or whatever social media app experience you kind of want, that all take data from the blockchain interactions that people are making permissions, right? So similarly, like if this conceptually makes sense as a way of thinking about social media, it's the same basic concept, but with e-commerce.
I mean, even to Bitcoin, actually others, I tried to pay for my Grab this morning, and my bank, I use Bangkok Bank, and I don't know if others, but a lot of people are saying Bangkok Bank app has been a problem the last couple of days, and they say use K-Bank or use other bank. But if it's even Bitcoin, right, you can use different wallets, right, to engage.
Whatever else, I want to move to that Africa one.
Yeah,
that was the other one I remembered. I can throw it there. I don't have to reset it up. So like the fact that I put pictures and a description and a price, I can just be like this app or this app. Is Hamza centralized or decentralized? Because those apps could be either, right?
Yeah. So I mean, Hamza, like when you think about like hosting a front end, that's centralized, right?
Right. So like if you can get kicked off Hamza. And then you can go put on the other one.
So Hamza is two things, right? Hamza is first the application layer, which allows you. Hamza is the front end hosted application. So it's like the HTML and CSS that's sent to you, right? Like we have to host that centrally on like an AWS server, maybe not Amazon because. Right. But we have to host it on a server so that information can go to you. But really, that's just looking at the blockchain. It is also like a DAO that has a governance model to decide what kind of commerce Hamza will allow, right?
Yeah. So like which kind of categories of goods it's filtering. Because if you think about it, like a protocol is agnostic to the type of product that is listed on it, right? That's sort of the idea of permissionlessness. It could be anything posted. But like the marketplaces themselves have to decide what products they're willing to house and what are the rules for kicking someone out, right? Which again, it's not as if there's no rule for that. And like, it's not as if someone can spin up another front end that takes all the people that have been, kicked out of another. But the rules are predictable and they're informed by a governance mechanism that is, a little bit more distributed, right? So at the smart contract level, there's governance systems to decide, but that's sort of what I mean about like having a little bit more power and representation, right? Incentive mechanisms that we've set up, right? So for instance, token emissions will happen for people who are going through and reviewing products to make sure that they're correctly categorized, right? Because if you're dealing with like smart contract logic and you're saying, well, we'll only list electronics, then you need to have accurate data as to what the products are categorized as, right? So we can release tokens of the protocol to incentivize that behavior, right? And the tokens themselves can have use in that, like, they can be required to stake as a vendor, right? And so if vendors are acting, in a disingenuous or deceitful way, we can slash their stake, right? But also we can reward them with emissions, right? And so that's like the tokenomic model behind it is to create the proper align the proper incentives to create a harmonious like marketplace.
But I mean, just the shorter answer, just to make sure, like OpenSea, OpenSea, right? I mean, they can ban a seller,
right,
or they can mark NFTs as stolen, but the blockchain still treat them. So it's separating the data layer from the application layer. So you can still get banned on these platforms, just like on Amazon, but your data will still exist on the chain. Yours as the user.
Well, that's the load pipe is the protocol. What chain is it on?
So we're thinking optimism right now.
Okay.
But like that's not a set in stone decision. So you'll notice, like, if you go to like Hamza.biz and you connect your wallet, you can transact in Sepolia, so it's Sepolia mainnet, or you can transact on Optimism. So again, Optimism is sort of like where we're thinking right now. We're not 100% settled on that, or we haven't made a final decision, but that's what we're like shooting for.
And so that even if Hamza went away or something, the DAO won't abandon it,
yeah,
sellers can keep going because the data's on chain.
Yeah.
So
people still need front ends to interact. Like sellers in particular still need front ends to e-commerce sellers are not gonna get a master's degree and learn how to interact directly with the blockchain in the same way that you don't have to understand the database infrastructure of Amazon in order to post products, right? So even though there is this technical infrastructure behind it, there will still need to be front ends for people to continue to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
But if the Hamza DAO, everyone abandoned it. Just like OpenSea, everyone should abandon that one.
Yeah.
And another one will pop up because it doesn't really matter because none of the data's there.
Yeah.
And so it's ideally Hamza will be the best option, but it isn't the only option, and it isn't dependent on that. Like if Amazon goes away, everybody's stuff goes away. Whereas if Hamza goes away, nobody's stuff goes away.
Yeah, exactly. I hope e-commerce sellers' eyes are not glazing over at this point. I know that this is this is a deep blockchain discussion, but another example to give would be like Uniswap, right? Like Uniswap operates a front end that looks at a blockchain backend, right? And so you interact with Uniswap through an interface, right? But technically, what's going on under the hood is all blockchain interaction. So Uniswap could the company that's based in the United States could dissolve, And everyone would still be able to use the function of Uniswap to swap tokens in liquidity pools without having to have that company, right?
Right, you just find another one.
Yeah.
So once I set up my bag and my price and my pictures and
Yeah.
my description, it doesn't matter if an app goes away or another app comes that's
Yeah.
better, I go to that one, or I could be on all six or
Yeah,
whatever.
as long as people continue building those front ends, right? You know, so I mean, but yeah, that becomes like a social problem, right? Like, is it a protocol that makes sense for people to continue to build? And you know, again, if incentives are properly aligned and people are able to engage in commerce, and people are willing to take the legal risk of like handling cryptocurrency on either side of a transaction, then yeah, the front ends will continue to pop up. But that's why we're building the first one,
Yeah,
hoping
otherwise
that
nobody sees how
right.
Right.
Well, I was just seeing if somebody's, make sure, we're getting a little bit technical, but.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
We are happy to move on to e-commerce.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking over there at the bottom, and I see it's holding transaction data, user data, product data. What happens to advertising data, customer reviews, FAQs, all those kind of little bits of information?
So reviews and stuff would also be on chip.
If you don't change it, if I was going onto a new platform, you would push all of that information along with the product data onto, so my page would not look like a landing page, it would look like, but would it be clear to a customer that I've only just come on, whatever the new marketplace is, as opposed to all of this and what it's come on? Do you understand the question? Correct?
Yeah, no, I mean, like your profile would be, I mean, like, I think that would be something that would be a decision that would be made at the application layer. So like someone on that, because again, when you're importing it, like you're using the interface of whatever application that is. And so like when you join a new one, you would have all this data that is from your like sort of persistent social profile. So reviews and ratings and reputation. But like, yes, the application could theoretically be like, hey, this is a new seller on our platform. Right, because there will be rules that exist at the application level. Because like even think about it, like there's data that we want to exist at the application layer, right? Like we don't want addresses to be on chain, right? We don't want that data to be exposed, right? So those are things that are any sort of PII, right? Like that's if they're doing, an application could decide to do to use the underlying like transaction, but settle to fiat, right? So like banking information, things that we don't want on chain, right? So yeah, that would be an application decision. It could look like that. It could not look like that. I'd be interested in which would you prefer?
Well, I would prefer to be able to push all the information, right?
Yeah, and it just looked like you have this.
It's a mindset shift because I just want to, because it's also with domain names. I'm also pretty active in domains on a blockchain, which is a whole other topic. But the idea is your identity is not start, just because you start from a marketplace doesn't mean you start from zero. But that's how our minds are. I sign up for a platform, I start from zero. But in the Web3, you're not starting from zero just because there's a new platform. Just because I sign up for TikTok on Web3 or Amazon on Web3, it doesn't mean I'm zero. I have one.
No, I agree with you. You have a history that would be relevant to a different set of customers. What would the customer prefer? What would the customer see as non behavior?
Well, back to like Beau says, the application could show what data has been imported and what data is from its own platform, because it's all on chain. So it can say this person's never transacted on this marketplace if it wants to display the content. And if, obviously I'm sold on this idea, but the idea is there can be third-party applications that can run your identity, your store, and say how you've done across which platform that you're selling a lot on eBay Web3, and you're not selling a lot on TikTok Web3, but the user or whoever would be able to kind of do their own due diligence.
And pricing data, is that held on the protocol, or that would be held at the application level?
That would be held at the protocol level, right? So like what the seller's asking for a product, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways. Again, not a lot of this is like set in stone, but there's like ways we could do it differently as well. Like, what was the like quasi auction concept? Where like we could theoretically like allow users, like say you as a vendor decide to like list a product, we could allow users to come on and say, well, I'll take it for 10% less, right? And you can decide whether or not you were okay with that.
The cool thing about that though is it's something you can't really do easily in the current in Web 2, because they can lock their crypto into the contract, and you as the seller could take that money because it's waiting for you. I don't know how much you guys do, and I'm kind of a little bit of a degenerate NFTs and such, but you can make offers, and you can give it 3 days. You can make it like, I'll lock this money, you got 3 days to decide. I want this TV. It's $1,000. You can bargain. The buyer has also power in the current Web 2. The seller has all the power. The buyer's just, do I want to pay that price or not? But in the Web 3, the buyer can say, I'll pay half. I'll give you 3 days. Maybe the seller will be like, oh, this is really cheap, but I need it. I'll take it. But you can also imagine price discovery. You don't even know what price your product, what people will pay. Like on Amazon, you start high, you do like a low, you go break even, you try to break up by address, you start low. You're trying to figure your price out. But imagine the buyer's telling you the price that they want to pay, and you choose.
I have a comment. The question is, when will Hamza go live?
Sure. Well, we can. You want it? I'll let us.
Yeah. So we have a test site live right now, Hamza.biz, which you can log in. You can do a transaction. Again, it's all on testnet. So Ethereum Sepolia testnet and Optimism Sepolia testnet. But you can do sort of all the functions that will eventually be around on that testnet now. We're aiming for March to have a working, so right now it's built in WordPress. We're building it again in React for a little bit more native, sort of like crypto libraries and a little bit more functionality, customizability, everything like that. So we're aiming for March to have something workable. May 1st is sort of our like MVP deliverable deadline, which is about 3 months from now. But that will be a testnet deployment. Because again, like a lot of crypto stuff, there's just very little margin for error, especially when you're deploying like smart contracts in a live environment, right? So there has to be room for auditing and testing, and which is why like a lot of what we're looking at now is we're hoping people go in and engage. Give us a little bit more data on, what it looks like, how it feels, what you want, what you don't like. And then, we are tracking all of that, right? So we're tracking contract or like, MetaMask signups. We're tracking addresses and wallets, which we can then, we can look at those and say, hey, these have been the people that have been testing out and giving us feedback for a while. But like realistic timeline on a live deployment, I would say and again, don't hold me to this. This is not a promise, but I would say somewhere around November makes sense, especially from a timing perspective, given that DevCon is in Bangkok in November, and this is like a Ethereum-based project. So yeah, I think for live deployment and doing some of the limited functionality in a live environment, probably November, but we'll be testing all the way up until.
So the other part is that doesn't mean there's something you can do. So like Beau says, just to be clear, we opened testnet last night Asia time. We did that to give the community some way to engage with us. We've also opened the Discord for LoadPipe. We're gonna have some games coming up in maybe a week or two. We'll have some kind of interactive games you can do. But like Beau says, we don't want to have we don't want to take customer funds and have technical issues, or we don't want to be stuck in the part where we can't change something because we rushed. So we are taking security to the most important out of all parts of this project. But there will be a lot of different things you can engage with. We also have a webinar. We're keeping us busy. We have a webinar. Some of you are tuning online for this, but we also have a webinar tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Thailand time. Beau and I will also be doing more, or he'll be mostly going through the amazing content of Blockchain 201, 8 a.m. Thailand time. And we'll also give you some more tips about what's happening. But yeah, as far as production, yeah, I think you said it best about the time you can actually buy or sell. And you can also talk to us if you're a developer. We'd love to work with you and in part of this ecosystem. We're trying to be an ecosystem. So Hamza is our first internal marketplace, but we didn't call it the LoadPipe marketplace purposely because we don't want to compete with our community. So we want your marketplace, your launchpad, your NFT launchpad. We actually won a hackathon last October. John's also our lead developer here. Thanks for coming, John. Worked really hard with us. And Beau, we won a ETH Global Hackathon in October for Zeppelin, which is like an NFT crowdfunding platform.
I would say it's Zeppelin. The concept behind it is trustless affiliates, right? So like being able to create affiliate links that are tied to individual products and be able to trustlessly, again, when you're integrated in a system that's all in crypto and you're keeping things in escrow and releasing payments, right? They can direct them in multiple places. And Zeppelin was like a sort of this conceptual design to building out an affiliate system. Because like any good e-commerce marketplace has a natural marketing arm, right? And Amazon affiliates like, paved the way in saying like, oh yeah, having affiliate links, being able to tie them they don't tie them to individual products. They just tie them to the marketplace in general. But obviously in our construction, it'd be tied to individual items. And so being able to have that functionality, again, that's not a November thing. I don't think that comes out with MVP, but that is certainly something that's in our roadmap that we understand as a necessity to having a functioning e-commerce marketplace.
And so you can go to loadpipe.com/ecosystem to see what I'm showing you. You can also register for webinar there. You can see links to Hamza, and you can also see our hackathon video and our screenshots and our prizes. We won Polygon's best use of CK-UVM for the Zeppelin product. You can see our live demo. So, yeah, there we go. Anyway, we're getting a little bit off topic. Let's go back. But the point is, we want to make this an open platform. That's why that's the value that Beau and I and others believe in, is we don't want to have a closed ecosystem with a black box that we can delete you at any time for any reason without any repercussion. The point is we want to welcome you and embrace you as a seller, as a builder, as a buyer, and have your own say. Should we do a demo? I just got to maybe turn the screen share off.
That's a good question. On that note of some of the security for the protocol, like with Amazon, some of the centralized platforms, they're still able to be gamified, right? There's a lot of gray hat, black hat that happens. And how what would be the best word? Like how secure would it be from, let's say I create a listing as a vendor for a new product that's in direct competition with some other vendors. How difficult would it be for them to sabotage my listing, which would of course be held in that protocol, right, and not be able to be changed, no matter if I went from this platform to that platform. You know what I'm saying? That'd be. Do
you mean by like sandbagging your reviews, or?
Yeah, let's say like a product he has product, but a competitor has a bigger reach in that particular market, has a way to influence way in the community to leave a handful of negative reviews or comments that would push down the listing, which would be based at the protocol level. So no matter if I switched around to different front ends, it'd still be a problem for me on an even greater level than Amazon listing.
That's a really good question. I think we should write that down.
I'm writing it down right now. Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff about the reviews is not like architected yet.
Yeah, so the short answer is we're not sure yet. But maybe a longer answer is, there's like a lot of complex stuff that goes into reputation. And we may at some point decide that like in order to have a review, you have to have like a because we can say like, okay, in order to leave a review on a product, you have to buy it. And that doesn't really solve the problem, right? Because someone could get in and buy like a couple of the products and then leave these negative reviews. But we do have like, part of what we're thinking about is dispute resolution in general, right? And decentralized dispute resolution, and how to do it in a way, because Amazon does have an internal team to do that, right? So we'll need people and members of the community to incentivize them to do correct dispute resolution and like, figuring out how technically we're going to do that. I'm not sure yet, but we'll come back to that problem.
My answer is similar. We're still learning and listening. I mean, we're not solving all the problems, but we're also basically just making a transparency, right? Right now, we don't know because the black hat seller leaves me negative reviews. I can try to look at their profile. I can try to kind of estimate, but I don't really know who that buyer is. But if it's on chain, I'll know this will already track every review. Because if you see this happening in NFTs, you see this happening in crypto, even somebody gets hacked. There's a hack and they steal all your money. They can still follow the money. And like I said earlier about analytics tools, somebody can make a tool. Are these fake reviews or not? You know the reason Amazon got all crazy and deleted all the reviews in 2016, 17 is because there was news articles on like famous news in the US saying it's all fake reviews. That was the only reason that they did anything.
Yeah.
They didn't care and it was hurting sellers. The only reason they deleted all of them was they were losing face or whatever, or their shareholders were giving them pressure because they're on NBC News at 9 p.m. about fake reviews on Amazon. That's, I believe, the only reason. But in this system, it's totally transparent. So you think you got some black hat seller? Maybe there's some black hat seller detector.com, connect your wallet, put the URL or put the wallet address. It'll run a tool. You can make a blog. It's also it's a democracy. You can take it to the DAO. You can say this guy screwed me. Look, I'll have all this data. They can vote. They can ban them. But it's a transparent process. It doesn't make everybody do the right thing. It just makes it
that whole process, though, like it sounds somewhat time intensive.
I mean, it's happening. I mean, he knows way more about it than I do, but it's happening. These problems are happening now in Web3 already, right?
Yeah, I mean, like this is the tension, though, right? Is like either you accept the speed of a centralized provider, or you have a democratized dispute resolution process.
Back to China. China is fast, right? Because they just can do it, right? They can build a bridge. But in America, there's always talk about how we use the budget for the subway in New York.
This could also relate as well to like issues of IP or trademark, selling fake brands or products.
It basically just exposes it all into somewhat public. So some people think that's not good, right? But like, yeah, centralization is a black box. You have no control. They can do it fast, but you don't agree or know why they did it. But here it might be a little bit slower. Everybody can see it, and it can get stopped. But it's like democracy. It's democracy.
Well, and yeah, like I said, when we're talking about Hamza, like at the application layer, I think of it as like a governance system, right? And I think about the governance of Hamza being sort of the legislative that are regulating commerce. They're saying what is allowed, what is not allowed. But you have to have a judiciary, right? You have to have some dispute resolution mechanism, and the disputes can exist over whether or not a product is delivered, or whose fault it is. If this, when funds are held in escrow, who does it ultimately go to? But disputes can also be of like, hey, this person is sandbagging my reviews, and this is, and it can go to dispute resolution mechanisms that we will define. But yeah, I mean that's going to be a big part of testing, I'm sure, right?
So what about like an algorithm and the search something? How do you kind of make that one?
Search out. Yeah, of course, everybody's got
because you were saying before that people don't need to be the new when they come in. They can import all the data and all the reviews, feedback, sales history, everything. So somebody who have a huge amount of that, isn't that like automatically phase one? Because that's how it comes to that's how it comes to the search engine exactly.
I mean, I've thought about this a lot. I don't think Beau or developers have thought about ranking, but I've been thinking about it a lot. Of course, we're not that far. We're pretty far from that, but I've been giving them other inputs than just the normal rank of sales. Because Amazon, Google could only rank based on clicks and reads. Amazon ranks based on sales, but imagine we could rank based on behavior, based on governance, based on being active in the actual governance of the ecosystem. Because these people will be able to vote. Sellers, I believe, have an obligation to uphold the ecosystem in a positive way. Because if they burn their reputation and they burn the seller, if we fail to Amazon, and if they on Amazon or on Web 2 or fail, their job should be to be active in the governance and success of the ecosystem. So imagine a top-rated one wouldn't just be because he got the most sales, but because he's also being a good actor in the ecosystem. He's participating in governance, which can be totally tracked on chain. I think it's always exist ideas. But it's not just about sales and business, it's about your behavior as a actor in the ecosystem.
Is that answer based on Hamza or Beau?
Yeah, so we're actually still figuring this out too, but the ranking algorithm will be based on the marketplace.
Okay,
so the marketplace is who would choose the rank.
Because I think a lot of the questions that we're asking, as much as you can theorize about them, I think at the end of the day, there's some things that will be growth vertical problem and other things that will be definitely at the application layer. No, even with the reviews as an example, and in terms of what they will agree to consume and what it works, but all of that is set by the rules of the application layer, which if it's Hamza, fantastic because you guys know that, but if it's a bunch of all the other ones, then it's anybody's guess, right? So the way which is you're feeding into all the different application layers will vary.
No, yeah, and again, yeah, when you're talking about like how do we rank searches, yeah, like that's gonna be HOMS, that's an application
Yeah,
layer
it's
decision,
application
right?
layer, yeah.
Because it's like, because you're just pulling from the database, and then it's like up to you to decide how you weight either the seller reputation or number of reviews, or like what your secret sauce is to like, you know, displaying search results. Like, yeah, totally an application question.
Well, ideally, the protocol will sort of create a certain governance or a certain guidelines of governance for the application.
I think the application layer governance will always win. It will override whatever, because it's saying, what am I going to pull, what am I going to?
It depends, because let's say you have a token that is created by the protocol and that incentivizes users in different apps to use it. Right? And if you, just as an example, right? Doesn't have to be the final, but if you have a common token that is used for governance purposes or even as a medium of exchange, which I don't think is decided yet, that could incentivize you to follow a certain, way of behavior, regardless of which app you're going to use, provided you want it to be a part of that protocol.
I would clarify here that that application layer governance only has so much control, right? Like it's very difficult to implement, for instance, saying that like application governance allows you to change the search algorithm that's being implemented in the front end, right? Well, blockchains just can't control that kind of complexity. And so applications are entities in the legal sense, right? Hamza is an entity in a legal sense, and it is a company that will make decisions about how like it provides the front end, right? In the same way that Uniswap is a company, a entity, right? There is this, like, there's only so much you can control through protocol governance, through the application layer governance, and there's only so much you want to control through application layer governance, right? And like I said, it's like these, having control over some of the base constructs, like the fee that will be paid to the protocol, right? That's something that can be governance, right? Having control over which categories of items will be listed in the application, that's something that can be controlled by application governance. But there's a lot of things that, like, again, color schemes of the CSS, you can't control that through protocol governance, right? It's just impossible to trustlessly and predictably execute on front.
So we have at least our schedule is about 5-10 more minutes of this. We want to make sure people are networking. I think I'll stick around, and some other people might not be able to stick around so much longer. But maybe we can quickly go through a test transaction if somebody wants to follow along with me, just to kind of see what the Raft is doing so far. Of course, this is very early stage. If you'd like to follow along with me, or you can try it at home later. So I already have testnet ETH. Again, this is not real money. This is fake money. We don't want it to risk any kind of bugs with real money. So you go to hamza.biz, and if you notice, you can sign in with your wallet right away. I usually do it at the checkout, but let's just pick any arbitrary product. I'm gonna add this iPhone 11, and I have it. I'm not yet logged into my wallet, but then maybe I can buy some more things. I might have some stuff in my cache already because I've been testing this myself. Proceed to checkout. So one of the fundamental differences is your wallet, not your email. And it's save my information. You have to normally fill that all out. Maybe I'm already logged in. But basically, see, you have you're paying with Ethereum, right? We're not paying with US dollar. We're paying with ETH. I know some of you would want USDT or USDC. I know some of you might not be comfortable receiving ETH or other highly volatile prices as a seller. So this will support USDC or T later. And then you choose your network. Right now, testnet. You can see Ethereum Sepolia or Optimism Sepolia. I'm going to do Ethereum Sepolia. I have ETH already in there. There are faucets, it's called. So if you don't have it, you have to go to one of these faucets. We link this as best we can in our blog post, blog.hamza.biz/raft. Again, I know this is technical. My friends are all saying it's a new thing for sellers. TOS, I wrote for you. And then pay with crypto. So it should prompt my MetaMask. Probably won't because it's a live demo, but it is. It's working. Okay. So now I'm buying with my crypto money this much Sequoia ETH total confirmed. But I was a gas fee in the tool. And it's processing. So notice I didn't use my email. I didn't have to verify my email address, or I didn't have to do all these other things. And this is processing, and then it will be recorded through my address. So my user identity is this address, right? That's my user ID. And actually, we do encourage you to use this. You have at least a week or two to use the current testnet before we make some changes. As Beau said, we are able to track your wallet address. We won't know who you are, but we'll know what wallet. So, of course, there's certain things I can and cannot say, but of course, we'll be happy to have more people using and testing the system. So the more that you use it and test it, the more we'll be able to see that and hopefully be able to reward you in the future as we develop the system. So again, this is not real order. Nothing's going to be shipped. This is all just a test. But we wanted to do this because we didn't want to wait until November or wait until next year. We wanted to show you something. We called it the RAP. It's testnet. Please, if you're interested, join our Discord. There's also a survey. You can fill out the survey now or later if you're able to. We would like your email, your name, if you would like. The address would be, of course, encouraged to you. And then we have some questions and just open-ended questions about feedbacks, features, questions, capture, submit. And this will also be another data point for us in our testnet to see how many people are filling a survey out. That would be greatly appreciated. For 1 hour mark, yes.
Mike, is there a need to have a balance on your MetaMask to do the testnet?
You gotta get the fake money, so they give it to you for free. So this is one of them. It's called a faucet. It's like a sink. They call it a They'll give you it for free.
Maybe you want to explain how that is done?
Yeah, some of them are easier than others. They all have different kind of requirements. But I clicked the Ethereum Sequoia. We're trying different ones ourselves, but each has a different way. Which one do you think I should?
This one works. Yeah, just at least don't take for granted that we will understand how to get the fake money. So if you can explain it, that would be appreciated.
So really, some of them are asking you to share on social media, or some of them asking you to log in with GitHub. It depends on how comfortable you are. So it read my address, and then I continue, and I'm going to get more.
Okay, so this one requires you to have a Ethereum mainnet balance in order to get the Sequoia. I would go to the Alchemy Sequoia faucet.
We should have linked them all. They seems like I think our team removed some of the other ones. See, they give you these games because that's how they make money, because it's totally free. So I mean, it's hard to give a live demo. They all have different. I don't know what to ask you.
Well, we're supposed to go to one of the faucets and then
one of the faucets. Honestly, if we should add all, I don't know why they removed. Remember you saying one didn't. Some ask you, they all ask different things because they want you to do some kind of hoop before they give you free money, test money. So you fill whichever one you're comfortable with, jump through their hoops. You will then get deposited to your balance. So you can see here I have 0.24 Sequoia ETH. This is testnet. You can see I just did this transaction. I did this transaction. I haven't backed up my secrets yet. But basically, that's what a faucet are. I think we should. Oh, there are more. Oh, here. The team's great, but
that's the Alchemy Sequoia faucet. So they, I think, only require you to log. They may not even require you to log in. I think they do, but you just copy your wallet address.
How do I get to the faucets? From where?
You can go to sequoiafaucet.com. SEPOLIA faucet.com. That one's the Alchemy faucet. Alchemy is a RPC provider.
So I got one 21 hours ago. Yeah. I have to wait 3 more hours.
But there'll be a CAPTCHA. You say send me ETH, and they'll ask you to create an account, log in.
So the other way is go to hamza.biz, and then we have this timer because we think we're going to give you at least 10 days of current wrap. We might upgrade or change this wrap, but take advantage of this 8 days now to test this. You click the learn more, and it will take you to the blog. I know it's technical. Everyone's saying, Mike, you said too much, but it's a lot to share. It's a big announcement. But basically, follow down here, and we give you 4 faucets here, and each has different kind of requirements. again, you don't, otherwise you can buy stuff with real money, but we're not, this is all.
So, I mean, and this is part of like, the thing to remember is that it's never going to go to live deployment requiring people to go to faucets, right? When we go to live deployment, we'll have like fiat monitors, we'll have the ability of someone to just sign in, use their credit card, grab crypto, and immediately pay for it. So the login experience will be seamless, but this is a testnet deployment. So in order to do that, like you can't buy testnet ETH with real money, and you can't load your MetaMask with that way. So yeah, you got to jump through some hoops. It's a little bit technical. I can go through that process again tomorrow in a more streamlined way when I do like the blockchain 201 course, and then we can produce that as well.
Anybody wants to wake up early, 8 a.m. online.
But we can also produce it as a video.
I made a video. I did a screen share last night too. I'll go ahead. Question.
Well, if people have trouble getting it, can they write on the Discord? I mean, 'cause even if I go and get some and I play with it, and if he's having trouble getting some, I can send him for my fake money. I mean, people can pass around their fake money to test it. 'Cause that's the part that isn't.
Wonderful question. Yes, if you join the Discord, I will personally send you Sepolia and Optimism. And what a good question. Yeah.
A question from YouTube viewer Tanya. Any plans to utilize Solana chain? Solana?
Not yet. Probably not. We'll talk about it, but I'm not a huge fan. So, and I'm not going to get into it. I mean, I'm fine with Solana. I know a lot of great Solana devs, but yeah, probably not.
I do believe we're definitely I think all of us are multi-chain people, but it's just also about stablecoin. I'm not sure if Solana has stablecoin, but one of our criteria was stablecoin, and others was just mass adoption. It's getting hard enough to tell people how to use MetaMask. I know Solana, I think, has some good wallets too, but I like Cosmos as well. But I didn't really push Cosmos because I felt like Ethereum is the widest use of wallets, and we're trying to target like not crypto people.
You need to start somewhere, basically.
Yeah. Okay, I think we go to networking, and I know Beau was super busy. Appreciate you sharing with us.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I'm going on you. Thanks for